2008 World Champions of Baseball.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Now entering the game for Philly Pressbox Radio, Bill Furman and Jim Chesko.
It's Wednesday, March 11th, 2026. Welcome to the Philly Pressbox Radio Roundtable, brought to you by the Irish Rover Station House in Langhorne, PA, Cavs, Philly Tailgates, and the STT Sports Network. I'm Bill Furman. I'll be your host tonight, along with my partner, Jim Chesko. Hey, Chet, when I sit down at night, the night before this show, and I try to plan out, kind of what we're going to talk about and all that, and then the names Mark DeRosa, Max Crosby, and Eric DaCosta pop into our sports world. Who are those guys, and what did they do that we certainly have to talk about today? They messed up the World Baseball Classic. They messed up NFL free agency. It's a mess, and we're going to talk about it. We're also going to talk Eagles. They're kind of in the negative column. The Phillies extended Jesus Luzardo for 5 years. The Sixers are all banged up even more. My goodness, I don't know what to do about that. And the Flyers, they're trying to be in the hunt. Not sure they got what it takes. Plenty to talk about, as always.
Yeah, of course. And we can also talk about the fact that you and I actually got together in person for a couple of adult beverages down in Clearwater over the weekend. And hey, what an adventure that was on my part, but I'm okay. Still nice seeing you in person for a change, one of those rare occasions, and a great time, by the way, several days down in the Sunshine State. The weather certainly did cooperate.
Yeah, absolutely. And always enjoy catching up as quick as it was still fun. But hey, Before we get to tonight's guest chat and all of our topics, I want to give a shout out to our friend Fester Talamani. We lost him this week after a very long illness and quite a battle. Finally got him.
Yeah, a fan of our show from the early days. He even bought one of our original T-shirts way back when. Lots of health issues in recent years, and he just wasn't able to overcome this last setback. So rest in peace, Fester.
Yep. Good man, Fester. Hate to see you go, my friend. Chet, couple great guests tonight, returning in the author of the book Ring the Bell, Kevin Reavy, and spring training PA voice of the Phillies, Chris Wheeler, to talk all things Eagles, Phillies. Maybe we'll mix in a couple of those other things with Kevin that I brought up.
Yeah, I think we could. He knows his stuff. A couple of very knowledgeable gentlemen for sure. And guest number one is ready to roll. So let's do it, Bill.
Let's do it. Let's welcome Kevin Reavy back to Philly Pressbox Radio. Kevin, welcome.
Hey, good to be here.
Great to see you. Great to see you, Kevin. Boy, we got plenty to talk about, as Bill said. So this is your third visit to our show, and we've talked mostly Phillies with you on your prior two visits. And that's going to be a little different tonight, although we will, of course, mention, again, your fantastic book that you co-wrote with Jack Fritz, Ring the Bell. We're going to talk mostly Eagles this time around, but let's spend a little bit of time, a few minutes anyway, talking Phillies first. How are you feeling about the Phils 15 days ahead of opening day 2026?
I think I'm in the minority when I say that I'm really optimistic. And I think, I've been the sunshine positivity guy all off season, and I think it's totally warranted. They have a great offense, despite what you may think. I think one of my main things that I've been trying to tell people all off season long is don't compare this team to the 2011 Phillies. It's a decade ago, the game was totally different. You have to judge the team against the teams they play now. And if you compare the 2025 Phillies to other teams that made the postseason, the Phillies on offense come out looking really, really well. And there weren't a whole lot of changes. I love Justin Crawford coming up. I'm hugely bullish on Justin Crawford. I think it was kind of ridiculous how everybody got into ground ball rate last season with Justin Crawford. So people tend to just regurgitate the same things they hear other, and they are experts, but they hear one person say ground ball rate and it just, whisper down the lane. It keeps going on and on. It becomes, a monster in and of itself. All that being said, I expect big seasons from Brandon Marsh. When he was slumping last season, I said he could still be an all-star. I want to pat myself on the back. He had a great finish to the season. I can be wrong. I also said last year that Matt Stafford was done and he was washed up, and then he goes on to win MVP. But that's why I try to stick to baseball for the most part, baseball and Eagles. And then, once we stray too far from that, I'm a little out of my depth.
Well, Kevin, I think we have to start with the outfield. I think it's everybody's question mark. Crawford, of course, we want him to do well. He's a rookie. He's going to have his ups and downs because all rookies do. That's expected. Are they better this year with the three starters they have with Castellanos gone? And certainly, do they have the depth that they might need going into this season?
Yeah, again, I mean, I think I would love to see a full season out of Brandon Marsh. A lot of people like to say that, all right, Marsh, you can only platoon him. He can't hit, righties and lefties. But the same can be said for a lot of guys, a lot of all-stars last season. Who's the guy? Actually, from out here in Lancaster County, the rookie of the year for the Athletics. His name's escaping me right now, but he batted around 210 against lefties. So there's precedent for sure for guys. They're not going to be fantastic from, against righties and lefties. I'm cool with that. Brandon Marsh's numbers, actually, after Harrison Bader was traded for last season, everyone remembers the tear that Harrison Bader went on. Brandon Marsh actually beat him in almost every category from that point on throughout the rest of the season. Marsh hit around 310. I believe his slugging percentage was over 550, I think like 586. He had 7 home runs. And Harrison Bader was around 302, 480 slugging percentage, around 5 home runs. So nobody seemed to notice that Brandon Marsh was on an absolute tear to close out the season. So I like him as a full-time outfielder. I love Justin Crawford. I just see upgrades throughout the entire lineup, and especially in the outfield. And it's not huge names. They didn't sign someone big, but I think we kind of dodged a bullet by not getting a guy like Bo Bichette. Because when you look at him, if we were going to get rid of Alec Boehm, you could put their numbers side by side, and people are going to hate me for saying this, but they're not that different. Alec Boehm and Bo Bichette, and especially when you consider that Alec Boehm has turned himself into one of the best defensive third basemen in baseball, and not for nothing led all third basemen in batting average last season at 287. How big of a difference are you going to have when you throw Bo Bichette in there in his place, who's never played third base and has always been a defensive liability? So I like dodging that bullet, if only because we get to keep Alec Boehm for one more season, and we potentially have all this money in savings that we can go get a guy later in the season that we know can perform. When we have a better idea what the team looks like, you can get a guy to fill in for those weaknesses.
What is your confidence level, Kevin, that Zach Wheeler will be back, close to opening day like they are predicting, and will look like the Zach Wheeler that we've seen the last 5 years and when he's won 65 games as a starter for the Phils? Yeah,
it's funny. Me and Jack Fritz, we were doing a book signing last year, and when he had that ailment, that injury, whatever you would call it, and I guess Jack knew more about these things. I'm not, I'm no doctor, but at the time I didn't know it was as big a deal as it would turn out to be. But from everything they're saying, he should be back. Who knows how these things work out long term, but he was one of the best pitchers in baseball. I think he's getting almost forgotten about. You look at there's a bunch of sites putting up top 10 staffs across the league, and they're just forgetting about Zach Wheeler. The Phillies don't just have a 1-2 punch. I think they still have a 1-2-3 punch. Who knows when he's going to be with the team, how long he's going to be with the team, if they stretch him out, what the deal is. But until he proves otherwise, he's Zach Wheeler. There's no reason to think that he's not going to be that guy.
Kevin, you by the way, I 100% agree with you on Boehm Bichette deal. But I want to switch over to Bryson Stott. He also had a pretty good second half last part of the season, ended up hitting at 257. But now we've got 4 years of Bryson Stott, and he is a career 256 hitter. Is he what he is at this point? Or I think we all expected there to be a lot more out of Bryson Stott than a 256 hitter.
Yeah, I was kind of, as optimistic as I can be. I'm a realist, and I was kind of done with Bryson Stott most of last season. I had high hopes for him, as I think most people did. But he did finish the season strong, but you have this huge body of work now to judge him, and he hasn't really done it. I actually liked Bo Bichette for second base last season. I wouldn't have liked the plan. If their plan was to replace him and put him at third base and get rid of Bohm, I don't love that because I don't love the production that Stott's given you at second base. So I would have liked to move Bichette over there to second base. And, I was just talking about defense, but famously, I don't care much about defense. When it comes to baseball, like offensive production, it means everything. So if I can get Bo Bichette at second base, to me, that's one of the least important defensive positions there is. Not that concerned with, second base over there. I would love him there. But as for right now, I think Stott's holding the position right now. But I think when we talk about the Phillies having money at the trade deadline to upgrade a position, I think that's where you're looking at it right there. Second base. I think it's a prove it season for him. And I hate when people say, Stott closed the season strong and his defense is phenomenal. I don't care much about second base defense, and he's going to have to prove it for a lot longer period of time for me.
We'll squeeze in a little more Phillies talk later if we have time, but we got to talk Eagles. It is free agency week. The Birds have lost several more guys than they've signed so far. First up, how disappointing is it that they lost both Nakobe Dean and Jalen Phillips? They were really targeting keeping Phillips. And how big of a setback are those departures to the Birds defense?
Well, I don't mind losing Phillips because if his number was around $20 million a year, that just seems crazy to me. And it's all relative. So you look at the numbers going out with contracts right now. If the cap just keeps rising, I guess, again, it's all relative. What does $20 million mean if the cap goes significantly up? But just on the face of it, the idea of $20 million for a guy who I don't think has had more than 5 sacks in a season. I think he had 5 total last season.
Yeah.
It just seems absurd to me. And you just have to think, just like they did last season, you'll find a deal out there better than that. $20 million just seems like a risk another team should be taking, not the Philadelphia Eagles.
By the way, it's 4 years, $120 million, so $30 million here, which is just crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the Alec Pierce deal is crazy to me. 47 catches, just a shade over 1,000 yards. 47 catches. You think Dallas Goedert, I think, had 60 last season. So you imagine 13 less catches. Goddard's not exactly tearing it up. He had less than 600 yards receiving last season. So I understand Pierce is the big bomb guy, but that also makes him seem incredibly, one-sided. I know there's big plans, but it seems crazy to me to spend the most money ever per season on a wide receiver based on an idea of what he can be, not based on what he's been.
Kevin, I mentioned in the opening about the Max Crosby situation and how that played out. And probably might have affected the Eagles as well, as they were in the Hendrickson hunt. Apparently, all indications are. The Ravens kind of put the football screwing to the Raiders, I think, as well as to the whole NFL, the way that thing turned out, I believe.
Oh, yeah. It's hard to tell with a guy like Crosby. I'm a big believer in, and I think everybody is at this point, offensive and defensive line, that's the name of the game. I'm more so an offensive line guy. So it's, throw all their money towards that, and I think they're fine. And especially their secondary still looks good. How good does the defensive line have to be? It'd be nice to get one more guy, but it's seemingly becoming more and more difficult. I wonder if the Eagles would have been more aggressive on Max Crosby. I guess they still could be if the Cowboys were looking to be more aggressive on Max Crosby. I guess all the reports right now are saying the Cowboys are out. So I think they'd be a little bit more interested in keeping him away from the Cowboys. But as of right now, if they have to go into this season with the defense they have at this point in time, they didn't have Jalen Phillips to start the season last year. So I have confidence they'll figure it out. And I might be too optimistic. I'll admit I can be way too optimistic. But the money also has to come from somewhere.
the former Seahawks cornerback, Reek Woolen, to a one-year deal. I know he takes some penalties, but he's got some good size. He's generally considered a pretty good guy, so he'll be here for at least 1 year. Is that a good addition?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think ideally for me, I would love a great offensive line and a great defensive line. And I think the secondary, for lack of a better word, is a secondary consideration for me when it comes to defense. But if that's the route you have to go, you have to play the hand you're dealt. They're missing out on a lot of defensive guys, and the amount of money they're going for, it just makes sense that they would miss out on these players. It's just not in the cards for the Eagles to add that kind of money. So you have to go other routes. If we're not trusting the Eagles at this point, I think we're kind of crazy. They seem to figure it out, especially on defense. And again, I'm a little too optimistic, but I look at the team as it is, and I think as far as like a semi-rebuilding phase for a competitive team, I think they're going in the right direction. I think it might be a mistake to go after a guy like Max Crosby or Trey Hendrickson and just throw money at the problem. Especially Trey Hendrickson, I think, despite Max Crosby's, supposed injury, I think paying that kind of money for a 31-year-old defensive end, I mean, the wheels seem to totally come off for defensive ends around like 35, 36, 37. So you're right on the edge there if you give him a 4 or 5 year deal. I don't love that. And you pay that kind of money, 30 million plus, you're really putting yourself in a bad situation. So if they have to go into the season with where they're at right now, I'm fine with it.
Well, you mentioned a key word in your last comment to me, and that's trust. And then we have A.J. Brown. Can we trust A.J. Brown? Can the Eagles trust A.J. Brown? Is it a lot of news fodder, or can he just not keep his mouth shut, or is he just ready to come play? What are we getting from this guy, and are we keeping him?
Yeah, I think a lot of that is, I always say, try to ignore the reality show of it. Like my wife, she loves all the reality shows, the Love is Blind, all this stuff. That, by the way, quick side note, Love is Blind is the biggest scam TV show there is. I won't get into it, but it's just, it blows my mind how many people go in there, these 20-something-year-old gorgeous people who just can't find love, apparently. Besides that, I try to ignore the reality show. When it comes right down to it, what has really happened between the end of the season and right now with A.J. Brown? I don't recall a TO push-up contest on his front lawn. There hasn't been that many crazy comments. If anything, I've heard comments with him on podcasts saying he loves the city of Philadelphia. He wants to come back. And the minute things seem a little bit trending in the other direction, I think everyone pounces. And it's just the culture we're in right now, especially on social media. And a lot of people want to blame it on talk radio, but I think talk radio covers a wide spectrum of opinions. But the minute somebody says something a little bit, crazy, that gets clipped and that goes out. And that becomes the totality of sports talk radio once A.J. Brown out, A.J. Brown once out of town and all that. I don't believe any of it. I still believe I don't know if he's an elite wide receiver. Maybe I would be in the camp with, the Bryce Harper side of things, maybe not elite, but still really good. And right now with his contract situation, you can't trade him. He would have to renegotiate his deal. There would have to be a lot of things that would go on. Why would you throw away money to not have him when you might as well just keep him on the team? I don't believe he's this bad guy in the locker room and he's going to tear your team apart from the inside out. He does take a lot of plays off, but let's allow the guy one season to fix that. I mean, 2 years ago, they won the Super Bowl. Let's give him one season to figure that out.
So regarding free agency, the Eagles also did lose Reed Blankenship and backup wide receiver Jahan Dotson. They signed former Jags tight end Johnny Munt, good blocking tight end, and they re-signed backup tight end Grant Calcaterra. Now, neither of those guys is Dallas Goedert, who you mentioned earlier, Kevin. So might they still bring back Goedert, or is his time as an Eagle over, do you think?
Yeah, I wonder what the numbers would be on that. And that's another thing where it would be depending on the cost. And I think one of the disappointing things for me was the price that Reed Blankenship went for. I think it was around $9 million a year, somewhere around there. I could be wrong.
Yeah. 8, right about 8, I believe.
Yeah, that seems like a value to me. I think sometimes safeties are a little undervalued in the league. But if you're looking at the numbers that are going out right now, especially to a guy like Jalen Phillips, is he really, 2.5 times better defensively than Reed Blankenship? I'm not sure. But as far as Dallas Goedert goes, I don't know. You got to give Hurts as many weapons as possible, I think. But if Goddard's going to go for a huge price, and he potentially could, I think you're looking for value. And again, that might be a situation similar to the Phillies. Have a guy fill in that space, and then later on in the season, if Hurts is having a problem getting the ball, in the air, if he's having a problem distributing, then maybe you make a move later on.
Well, speaking of Jalen Hurts, we have a new offensive coordinator. We have 2 new offensive coordinator candidates who have now been hired, and we have a quarterback coach. We got a 4-man team that's going to work with Jalen Hurts daily. Is that good, or is that just going to be too confusing? I mean, somebody's got to be the guy, right?
Yeah, I think when it comes down to it, I think we get a little too cute when we think about these things. Hurts been in the league for a long time now. He's been playing football his whole life. He's played at an elite level. He's played in 2 Super Bowls. He's been to Pro Bowls. He's the Super Bowl MVP. He's done everything on the football field. I think he's still really good. Maybe not as good as I thought this time last year. Speaking of getting it wrong, I wrote an article last preseason, where I said basically Jalen Hurts was the prototype NFL quarterback. That might be wrong. I think, Josh Allen has proved to be that guy maybe. But I think Hurts is still capable of being an elite. We talk about elite. He can still be an elite quarterback. A lot of things went wrong last season. And again, they're 2 seasons removed from the Super Bowl. I want to see him have a chance to rectify those things he did wrong last season. And if things go horribly awry this year, then he can figure it out. But he's earned 1 season of grace. And I know as a team, as a city, we kind of go insane when one wheel gets a little wobbly. But they're not falling off. Everything right now seems fine. And just like I say, the Phillies won, over 95 games last year. The Eagles were still phenomenal. They were still one of the best teams in the league last year. There's no reason to panic. Hurts is still the guy. It's just a matter of him proving it. And this is going to be a prove-it year.
Kevin, I have 2 final quick questions. Question 1, the over-under, last time I checked, for the Phillies, 89.5 wins. I think you're optimistic. I think you're going over 89.5. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, the problem with trusting me on this is that I was looking at the Phillies offense, and I was trying to be fair, and I was going to write a social media post where I gave my predictions, positive and negative, about the offense. And it was just all positive. And I realized that I might be a little too optimistic. But I do think Marsh is going to have a great year. I think Real Muto is going to be fine. I think one of the things people disregard when we consider the signing there is, 1, there's no salary cap. So who cares what they signed him for? And 2, there was no alternative. There really was no alternative at catcher. They have no one coming up for the most part. So they had to kind of have somebody. You might as well have one of the better defensive catchers in the game, and a guy that plays every day. So I'm optimistic about him. Bohm, I still think, is a great player. I don't think Bohm has anything to prove. I think he's always been a pretty damn good player. Harper, I'm kind of bullish on, 4 games in the World Baseball Classic and everyone's ready to throw it all away, but I'm not there yet. I love the way their outfield looks right now just because of adding Justin Crawford. I think that was a big mistake. They didn't add him last year. I guess things worked out with Harrison Bader, but when they needed him most, he wasn't there in the postseason. And you would have had Justin Crawford, the spark plug. I wonder how things might have ended up if they went in that direction instead. But I'm really bullish. I could be wrong, but 89 wins I think is low. Again, I think that's based on this weird negativity in the city, which I don't think is warranted. I think they're going to be right around like 93, 94 wins.
You got 10 seconds to answer this question. Is The Pit the best show on television?
It is not the best show on television. I really enjoy it. Me and my wife really love it. I went to school out near Pittsburgh at IUP. It's a great show, but that Knights of the Seven Kingdoms, whatever it is, the Game of Thrones show, that's the best show I've seen on TV in the past couple years. But The Pit is pretty great.
Bill, wrap it up.
One final thing for you, Kevin. Ring the bell. Where's your book available?
You got to ringthebellbook.com. Ringthebellbook.com, or you can get it on Amazon, wherever. It's available.
I
forgot. Me and Ryan Spader are coming out with a Phillies trivia book next month. So look for that too. It's called Incredible Phillies Trivia. So
excellent.
Do you still do public signings with the Ring the Bell book?
Yeah, we haven't done as many, but probably once the season gets going, we'll start doing that again.
All right, we'll look for that.
Good deal. Well, we appreciate you joining us, Kevin, as always, and let's do it again.
Absolutely. Thanks. It was fun,
buddy. See you.
All right. Hey, Chet, Philly Pressbox Radio is part of the STT Sports Network, as in Set the Trends. It's a network set up by our pal, Phil Stiefel, host of the terrific Trending in the AM show that you can find every weekday morning on the STT Sports Network YouTube channel. Check out Phil. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Phil's show is on there, and so is ours. Yep, you can find Philly Pressbox Radio there in addition to on our own YouTube channel and on our Facebook page. Again, it's the STT Sports Network setting the trends for what sports talk should be.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Chet, March means spring is here. Spring is on the way. What kind of spring activities are going on at the Irish Rover Station House?
Well, I think you know this, Bill. The Irish holiday, the big one, is fast approaching. In fact, it's 5-6 days away from right now. I'll be celebrating, of course, pretending to be Irish for a few days. And I talked to the Rovers' Chris Gaskill about that very recently. And here's a little bit of that conversation. Because the 17th is on a Tuesday this year, you guys have decided to turn it into an 11-day event. I love that. The 12th to the 22nd. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so not everyone loves the crowds on St. Paddy's Day like I do. So we love to serve all of our favorite Irish food starting on the 12th. So if you come in on the 12th, you'll be able to have all of our ham, corned beef platters, Guinness stew, shepherd's pie, all the things that you love, along with, of course, a pint of Guinness and our favorite Irish beers. Over the weekend, we're going to have Irish dancers. We'll have some Irish music. And then leading up into the big day, which is on the 17th, which I'm sure you know is a lot of fun and a lot of craziness, but it's a great day. And we'll be serving all of our same food and drink for the rest of the week, too, just in case you haven't gotten your fill.
So you're going to have some of the Irish dancers the preceding weekend and again on St. Patrick's Day?
Correct. Yes. We're going to have them in here every opportunity we can. Our big weekend really starts on Friday, the 13th. We will have food available and all of the beer on the 12th. And we'll have music. Guinness will also be out on Friday, probably with some giveaways. You'll have Irish dancers leading up to the big day on the 17th. And then we'll keep the party going and roll right through the next weekend.
Love it. The Irish Rover on Bellevue Avenue in Langhorne. Find them on the web at irishroverstationhouse.com. Chris, enjoy all the festivities this month and happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day to you. Cheers.
Hey, I'm Lou Bryson. I know a lot about whiskey and beer. I don't know a whole lot about Philadelphia sports. I leave that to Bill and Chet on Philly Pressbox Radio. Cheers.
There you go.
You know what? Speaking of Lou Bryson, congrats to Lou and our pal Glenn Macnow on the fact that my favorite show about beer, What's Brewing, has been renewed for a 12th season on NBC Sports Philadelphia. And it's a short off season. They just finished the other one about a month and a half, 2 months ago. They're starting up again at the end of March. So cheers, guys, and I'll be watching.
There you go. Hey, Chet, as you mentioned, you and I had a quick beverage in Clearwater Saturday, but you had a chance to see the spring training version of those Phillies and visit with Wheels, Chris Wheeler.
Yeah, I saw a spring training Phillies lineup that had actually 5 or 6 Phillies regulars in it, but not a single one of them got a hit. The Phillies had a total of 2 hits in that game on Saturday against the Blue Jays. Back-to-back at-bats brought those hits in the 6th inning by a couple of guys who likely won't be on the opening day roster. I left the ballpark in the 8th inning when it was still 0-0. And true story, I didn't find out till this morning how the game ended when I thought to check on it. Turns out the Jays won 1-0. They pushed across the run in the top of the 9th inning. And yeah, the Phillies had just those 2 hits in the game. The good news, though, Andrew Painter started and pitched 3 more scoreless innings. So he's given up 1 hit and 1 walk in 5 shutout innings this spring. But otherwise, a not very exciting spring game.
Right. Well, hey, I think the World Baseball Classic in the middle of spring training, although it might be short-lived thanks to that Mark.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah. We'll get to that. I'm dying to get to that.
Yeah.
Knucklehead. And but I think spring training's lost a bit of its luster. It's much longer, and you're not seeing the players maybe because of the so many guys being gone in the Baseball Classic. But is Wheels excited about the 2026 Phils?
Well, Wheels never makes predictions, but I do think he is cautiously optimistic, kind of like Kevin, as a matter of fact. See if you feel that way also after you hear Wheels talk about the 2026 Phillies. Here is our conversation. Well, what a pleasure. We do this every year. It seems it's an annual tradition. This guy, you know him. He was the Phillies color analyst for many, many years. Now he's just Mr. Spring Training. 50-plus years, more than a half century. Wheels, how you doing?
I'm good, Chet. Yeah, my first spring training here was 1972.
Yeah.
So I've been coming down here for a long, long time, and I did some television down here over the years. But the PA is something that I've done, and I'm still doing that. So I'm kind of involved.
Is it still fun?
Still fun. It makes me bear down. I have to. It's really there's so many changes. You got to concentrate, and. I like it because I get a chance to see some of them. People say, what do you think this guy's like? I say, well, I saw a little bit of him. And then I get to stay here because I've also said, do you ever see Justin Crawford? I said, yeah, I saw him play his first game here for the Threshers a number of years ago, and Abe Miller too. So it's fun to be here for 6 months of the year, yeah.
I'm going to ask you about some of those guys in just a minute, but speaking of the PA work, a lot of these guys that you're calling their names are never going to play a minute in the major leagues. Do you have to study the names and try to get them right?
Well, if it's Aiden Miller, I got that.
Sure. Even I could handle that one.
But, I'm lucky. Most of the teams send you a pronunciation guide, and we have ours too for the Phillies. And I had Spanish at one time. So I'm pretty good with Latin names. Now,
nice.
If this were a league full of Germans and French Canadians and all that, I wouldn't be as. But I'm pretty good with the Latin names if they want to pronounce the way that it's supposed to be in Spanish. So yeah, I do homework.
Oh, you mentioned Justin Crawford. Let's start there. He could be Phillies' regular center fielder this year. You saw him, as you said, way back when he first started with the Threshers. How's he looking so far?
He can really run.
Yeah.
I saw that right away with him. He puts a bat on the ball. He's hit the ball in the air. He's also hits it hard a lot of times. Hit 2 bullets the other day that would have been double plays for any other human, and he beat it easy. First base. Not that he can't hit it on double play, but Willie McGee led the league in double plays hitting the double plays one year because he hit everything up the middle. So I haven't seen enough of him to play to tell you.
Right.
He hasn't had any mistakes in center field. There's nowhere harder to play except the old Candlestick than Florida in the spring because of the sun and the wind. You have a lot of days with no clouds, so they have nothing for contrast. He's been fine so far. When I first saw him a few years ago, I said to Dave Dombrowski, who was here, I said, you and I are old enough to remember this. I said, he reminds me of Willie Davis. And the older fans will remember Willie Davis from the Dodgers. Nobody went from home plate to third base like Willie Davis with those long legs. And this is what Crawford reminds you of. He's evidently very coachable and a great kid. So this time next year, we'll find out what kind of player he is in the major leagues.
Now, since you also mentioned Aiden Miller, I know he's been battling a lower back thing lately, so we haven't seen too much of him yet. In fact, pretty much nothing. What is his future, though? I know he's like the first or second prospect in the Phillies organization.
Saw him here play his first game for the Threshers, and he was. I remember thinking if he ever grows into that body, he could have some power too, and he did. I mean, he's big. He's a big kid. He's 6'2". He's solid. He can play a lot of positions. They know he can play shortstop. And last year he did something you never hear about, a guy all of a sudden getting faster. That doesn't happen usually. So he stole a ton of bases last year. Played very good shortstop. Can Can he play third base? They wanted him to play some third base, but he's been, as you said, with this mysterious back thing all spring.
Yeah.
And I think they just don't want to mess with him because he was never going to make the team out of spring training. So I guess their feeling is, hey, we're not going to do anything dumb here.
The new right fielder, Adolis Garcia. I don't know if he can hit, but man, those biceps.
Yeah, he's a big man. He'll be playing. You'll
Yeah.
see him when you're down here. He's been playing almost every home game. He's okay. He's a great outfielder,
Yeah.
as we know. He has put the ball in play. He doesn't strike out. He hasn't hit any home runs. He hasn't smoked any balls in the alleys. He's hit a couple balls hard. He seems more selective at home plate, especially with this challenge stuff going on, and he's not chasing this thing. So I don't want to get all, you know me a long time. I don't do predictions very well. I just see what I see, and I haven't seen anything at this point to tell you that, oh man, that's a 4-hole hitter who's going to hit 30 home runs. I haven't seen anything to not say that he has a chance to make a rebound this year as a player. But once again, we'll find out.
Pitching staff. Zach Wheeler, hopefully back close to opening day.
Yeah.
The guy we're seeing today, full disclosure, we're taping this Saturday, right before the afternoon game. Andrew Painter on the mound looked great in his first start. There's a lot of buzz about this kid.
Yeah, and rightly so. He's a big guy with great mechanics, has a lot of pitches, throws really hard, had control problems last year. 2 years, 3 years out of Tommy John, takes a while.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see what he does today.
He looks like he doesn't worry about pressure. You know,
he seems
so
pretty
mature.
cool. He seems like he's having fun out there
Yeah.
too, which is half the battle. So, look, he's really important. You know, when you don't have Zach Wheeler to start the year, and who knows, although they keep saying on his side sessions right now, he looks pretty good as far as throwing hard, and you lose Ranger.
Right.
Pretty big losses in your Phillies last year probably had, if not the best starting rotation, 1, 2, 3 in the whole sport. They don't this year.
Right.
So that's why I think they did a lot of things to try and fix the back of the bullpen a little bit, which we'll see.
But we know what we're getting with Sanchez. Wheeler, as you said, still a bit of a question mark. Hopefully he's healthy. He'll be great then. The key for me, though, Aaron Nola.
Yeah.
Not so good last year. What should we expect this year?
He got a lot of rest. He didn't pitch. That guy had a lot of miles on his arm.
Mm-hmm.
Not a big guy. Tall, but, not a big, bulky
Right.
guy or anything. I think that may have helped him a little bit last year, even though they didn't want to lose him. He's been good. They've started him a few times in games here in Clearwater, so you can see him. He's with the World Baseball Classic. He's pitching for Italy, but as Larry Boa, his only can say is, don't worry, you'll be back quick. Typical Bo. And Nola, who has a great sense of humor, really enjoyed that. So, as I said, I think he's stronger right now because that guy has pitched so many innings. He's been so dependable.
Yeah, he
so
was healthy
long.
every year till last year.
Every year. So last year, he didn't want to lose him, but maybe it wasn't the worst thing.
Exactly.
But as Tug McGraw used to always say, the hitter will let you know how you're throwing.
Hey, Bryce Harper had the little not elite thing with Dombrowski. He says that's not an issue. They've patched things up, but I think it is going to be a bit of a motivating factor for him.
Well, when you wear a T-shirt that says not elite,
Exactly.
I don't think it's in the past.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Bryce Harper's a heck of a player. He's getting on a little bit in years. He had a few games here before he left. He hit it hard. Both games that I saw him play. Then he had a home run over at Dunedin in a game I didn't see. He'll be a star probably for the American team in the World Baseball Classic. He's motivated. And guys like him, they want to play anyway. One thing you notice right away with him down here, Chet, is the thing he talked about is trying to understand that he can walk and still be a good player the way he used to. And don't worry about who's behind you, it's out of your control.
Yeah.
If you can walk in on base, very important. So his strike zone control early on this year in the at-bats I've seen has been very good.
Great to have Schwarber back. Nice to have JT back with the pitching staff. But I want to ask you about the third baseman, subject to trade rumors. The last two winners, Alec Boehm. What should we expect from him this year?
Well, he's been good this spring. It's like, look, he's on his walk here, as you just said. he's become a much better third baseman. He's not a liability. I'm not saying he's, Gold Glove third baseman, but he's pretty good. Boy, has he been driving the ball in spring training. He's
nice.
playing again today, and he's hitting it hard all over the place. Great kid. Anybody who's been around him. I got to be in a golf tournament with him this year, get to know him a little bit.
Oh, nice.
What a good guy. Very quiet, but big smile and happy to be a Major League Baseball player. And it's all out of his control. All he can do is go out and have the best year he can have, and it's his walk year. We'll go from there.
Last thing I want to ask you about, you mentioned it, the challenge thing, the ABS challenge.
Yeah.
What is your take? A guy who's been, following baseball for your entire life. This is something new. It's had its pros and cons. What do you think?
I'm good with it. I saw it down here. I keep, because I'm here April, May, June, when these guys are playing, the freshers are playing that. So I've seen it.
Yeah.
And it works. And down here, I've noticed it's the pitcher, it's the catcher, and the hitter that are challenging. Luzardo kind of did one the other day, but JT took over and he got it right. And two straight hitters he struck out that the umpire called ball 4. So everybody talks about last year in the playoffs. That guy's out, and anything changes. None of it. We win that game. I don't know. But I'm good with it. And I think it's going to be good. They're going to control it. And I think managers are going to find out who they can trust and who they can't, and they'll be careful with using them.
You hear that, Bill Furman? Wheels likes it. Bill doesn't.
But you know what? I know Bill. Look, I love our game the way it was, but it needed a little tweaks. And if this can prevent one thing from happening in a big situation like last year, why not?
Of this tradition, Mr. Spring Training, Chris Wheeler. Thanks.
My pleasure, Chad. Anytime.
There you go. I'll take the shot. I'll take the shot.
Had to do it, Bill. Had to do it.
No problem. No problem. But and as long as it's kept under control, we'll see how it works out. That
gotta be interesting.
game in the early spring training when they had 4 in the first half inning, that was not good. That's not good for the game. So
always good to talk to Wheels, though, man. I do love that. I do love talking to Wheels every year. That is so much fun. And before the game, hanging down in the clubhouse area, the lunchroom area, I said hello to Rob Thompson. And I also got a picture with a couple of baseball legends, Bill. Boy, what knowledge right there. Peter Gammon is with me on the left and the great Pat Gillick on the right. Talk about baseball lifers who know the sport inside and out. Those two guys have it right there.
Yeah, both of those guys are probably 85 years old. I mean, there's a lot of baseball years in those two fellas. That's for sure. Makes you look like a young pup.
Exactly. I need that. I got to hang around with all the older folks. Hey, World Baseball Classic. I just checked. Italy leads Mexico 1-0. And it's going to depend what happens in this game, whether Team USA makes it. For those who don't know the scenario, the U.S. team would need Italy to beat Mexico, no matter what the score tonight, or Mexico would have to beat Italy and score 5 or more runs in 9 innings. But the U.S. would be eliminated if Mexico beats Italy while scoring 4 or fewer runs.
Why is that?
Well, somebody messed up, Bill. What happened?
Mark DeRosa didn't know the rules of the tournament. What in the world? How did that happen? I mean, okay, he's an idiot. Graduated from the Wharton School, by the way, at the University of Pennsylvania. Like, he's really not an idiot, but he's an idiot. But he has bosses too. He's got other people that had to look at the lineup that had Raleigh and Harper and 3 or 4 guys out of the lineup and been saying, "What are you doing?" Nope.
Yeah,
we're going to lose, and they did it. Well, I didn't know. What do you mean?
They fell behind. They fell behind 8-0, mounted the comeback to lose only 8-6, which they needed to do because of the whole run differential thing. But how do you not know that going into a short tournament like this? Come on,
this
guys.
isn't a weekend Little League tournament down the corner, right?
Yeah,
this is the World Baseball Classic, and you don't know the rules. Mark
and
DeRosa, they should have fired him on the spot.
You know what the funny thing is? Their fate right now kind of relies on Aaronola. Phillies Aaronola pitching for Italy tonight. He started. He's in there, as far as we know, still in the second inning. As I said, it was 1-0 Italy in the bottom of the second when I checked about 7 or 8 minutes ago. So if Aaronola pitches great, the U.S. gets in, or if Aaron gets shelled and Mexico wins and scores at least 5 runs, they get in. So we'll see which Nola is there tonight, and Team USA watching and hoping.
Yeah. What a mistake. What a mistake.
That's just bad. That's just nuts.
And if they don't even make it into the tournament, because basically the tournament hasn't started yet. And if it doesn't fall the way you just explained, they don't make the tournament. And what a crime that's going to be.
Yeah, because this is like the opening round, the different pools. So, oh well.
Yeah. It's their own fault. That's all you can say. It's their own fault. Didn't put their best players out there. Yeah. Hey, Jet, you had a chance to meet up with Bob Cavanaugh in Clearwater Saturday also. What's going on with the best tailgaters in Philadelphia? Cav and the gang.
Always good to see Cav. Yeah, after I hung out with you for a bit with my little adventure, which I'll try to tell everybody about later on, I went further down into Clearwater Beach, met up with Bob Cavanaugh and his lovely wife, and Bob's brother and his wife. Had a few more adult beverages at Cocoa Crush, the original Cocoa Crush on the Boulevard, Coronado Drive, or whatever it's called in Clearwater Beach. So that was a good time. Always good to see Cav, and always good to go to one of his cookouts as well. That's not the guy. This is the guy right here. Cav's Philly Tailgates is who I'm talking about. They've been cooking up their terrific catering business for some 35 years now. Philly Tailgates, just a terrific job. Jack Daniels, Great American Tailgate Party Contest winner and a past winner of the Philly Daily News Tailgate Award. Cavs also does corporate events, parties, you name it, but of course, known best for the tailgates before Philly sporting events. No more Eagles events till, September, of course, but there will be Phillies tailgates before the home opener on March 26th. That is 15 days away. Another one before a Phil's Guardians game in May, and before the Morgan Wallen concert on August 1st. And Cav told me he is adding a few more events to the schedule, more games, more concerts. Get details on those that we know about for sure and other events at Cav's website. That, of course, Cav's PhillyTailgates.com. PhillyTailgates.com, the actual website name. And if you have any questions, you can email them at cavscatering@verizon.net. Cavs Philly Tailgates is the way to go.
Hey, Chet.
Yeah.
I hate to even talk about this, but we got to do it again. The Sixers are playing their way out of the playoffs even more, even with last night's win. Joel Embiid is hurt. VJ Ezcom is hurt. Paul George is suspended. Tyrese Maxey's now hurt. And Kelly Oubre got hurt today, or announced today. Yeah. He's out. They're presently in 8th place, even with last night's win. They might not make the playoffs.
Where do I begin? Yeah, 8th place right now. But the good news, still just a game and a half out of both the 5th and 6th spots. Within striking range, sure. But
and the 10th spot.
Yeah, it won't be easy. So I don't think they're going to fall out of 9th or 10th. So they will be in the play-in at the very least, the way it looks. But it's not going to be easy with Embiid out for another couple of games till he's reevaluated, led again. We'll see how that goes. Yeah. Now, Maxey out for 3 weeks, so he may only get back for the last 5 games. Paul George, we know, still has several games left. He'll be back for the last 10 games if it stands as is. Maxey has that torn tendon in his pinky finger, affects his shooting, so he can't play. And now, as you said, Oubre out 2 weeks with a sprained left elbow. Man, this team, I don't know if they're just jinxed or what, but the Maxey injury here in crunch time is a real killer. And I don't know what to make of it anymore, Bill.
Yeah, they're just going to play it out and see. I mean, to expect them to go on any kind of run and win any kind of amount of games isn't going to happen. I think it's just a matter of, are they able to hold on to a spot? And probably the play-in's the best they're going to do. And
does it even matter? I don't know.
No.
We'll talk more Sixers in the future, but that's enough for tonight. How about this, though? How about the Heat's Bam Adebayo last night, scoring 83 points? I didn't see the highlights, but apparently, both teams were fouling to allow him more opportunities to have the ball. It sounds like it was just a real sham, and I don't like it.
Didn't he shoot 36 foul shots?
Yeah.
I think, right? He himself shot 36 foul shots.
I believe so. And both teams were fouling to allow him to get more opportunities. It was crazy, and it wasn't a close game. So it's not like when Kobe had the 81 points, that was still a close game, and he helped them win that game while setting the record for the second most points in a game. But this was a blowout. It was all about him getting past Kobe and scoring 83 points, a couple more than Kobe had.
Yeah, they scored 150 points. Let me see right here. I've just pulled it up. He shot 20 of 43 from the field, 36 of 43 from the line.
Oh, my God.
9 rebounds, 3 assists, 5 turnovers, 83 points in 42 minutes.
Just another reason to love the NBA, Bill.
Yeah, right. If you didn't hate it before, you can hate it now. And then they were waiting for him at his locker with a little P-test kit.
Oh, man.
Oh, my goodness.
Crazy world.
Hey, oh, my goodness. Hey, speaking of that, we're going to come back. Well, matter of fact, let's hit it now. We'll throw this in here because we're going to have a minute at the end. This whole NFL thing with Max Crosby, Chet, we talked about some important dates in the NFL last week. The NFL trade deadline started today at 4:00. That's when trades are allowed to happen. Well, Max Crosby got traded publicly about 3 or 4 days ago, right? As did a whole bunch of other guys.
Yeah.
They're meaningless trades, which then allowed the Ravens to watch everything unfold around them, lose their own center to the Raiders, who Crosby came from, for all the ton of money. They pull their trade back, get their picks back. In the meantime, everybody around the league has made other moves, and the Ravens ended up using it to get Hendrickson. What a disaster! It's a disaster for the league.
Yeah, it sounds like they need to do a little fine tuning with some of these rules here, with all the legal tampering and when these trades are actually official, all that kind of stuff. But it sounds a little fishy.
Well, I mean, it's clear when they're official, 4:00 today.
Right.
Now, why they actually run through the league and announce them
exactly. That's the problem.
That's the problem.
That is the problem.
You can't be doing that. And then, and if you do, you can't be saying, well, he didn't pass his physical and, blah, 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 and pull back on trades. It affects a whole lot of people. And a lot of teams and Max Crosby too. He was in Baltimore. All of a sudden he was back in Vegas. So kind of messed up situation, I think.
It sure is.
All right. Well, hey, a couple great guests tonight in Kevin Reavy and Chris Wheeler. Who is coming to Philly Press Box Radio next week, Chet?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Bill. Next week we will talk Eagles and more with the Eagles managing editor for the Phillies Sports Network and a co-host of the Flip and the Birds podcast. He's been on with us 2 or 3 times previously. It's Brian Cameron. Always fun talking with BC.
Yep, Brian's good. He'll have a lot of insight. That's for sure. All right, Chet. We're going to talk Flyers for just a minute. They play tonight here, just starting, or they are started. They can't stay consistent enough to pull off this playoff push. It doesn't look like. They play so well for several games, then they stink the place up. Not going to make up spots when you can't be consistent every night.
Yeah, I was so hopeful that we were going to have both the Flyers and Sixers in the postseason in meaningful playoff games. Right now, the Sixers are iffy and the Flyers are pretty much dead, if you ask me. They are 9 points out of the final wild card spot with, I think, 19 to go and a few teams ahead of them in between. So it ain't going to be easy. They're going to have to go on a winning streak, and I just don't think they have it in them. I mean, even Vladar now is starting to show a little wear and tear. He got shell-shocked the other night.
Yeah, and it was interesting if you were watching that game. They got behind 5-1, and they were there was a minute and a half or 2 minutes to go in the second period, and they're waiting to pull him. They're going to pull him in between periods. But, you don't want to embarrass the guy and pull him out with a minute to go. Well, he gave up another one. So within the last minute. So he ended up giving up 6 goals against the Rangers at home. They got shellacked. I think they're in big trouble as we go down the stretch.
Yeah, I think you're right, Bill.
Hey, Chet, for a couple odds and ends might have tonight, shout out to the passing of Notre Dame coaching legend Lou Holtz.
Yeah, we didn't get to that last week. I had it on
week.
my agenda as an add-on, and we never did get to it. So yeah,
because I think it actually happened last Wednesday, if I recall. So.
I believe so. Yeah, Tuesday or Wednesday. So rest in peace, Lou Holtz, a legend, of course.
Yeah.
And, Bill, we are, as I said, 2 weeks from opening day, 2 weeks from Thursday, as a matter of fact. So you know what that means. That means 15 would be the number. And do I have him in here?
Dick,
somewhere?
Don't call me Richie. Gotta be.
Call me Richie, Dick Allen. And, oh, my gosh, I can't find him.
Dick,
son of a gun. There he is. I got him.
There
Dick Allen, number 15 with the Phillies. That looks like it was from his second go-round in the mid-'70s. So, yeah, one of my all-time favorite players. And now, finally, later than it should have been, a baseball Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I'd have been disappointed if you didn't come up with that one.
Yeah. Now, one other thing while we have the time, Bill, the quick rundown of what happened Saturday when I was meeting up with you. And this is embarrassing, but I'm going to tell the story anyway. So I drove from Orlando over to Clearwater in a rental car for the Phillies game. Then after the Phillies game, I was meeting up with Bill, who was in Clearwater Beach with his lovely wife for a little getaway weekend. But he was able to sneak out for a half hour or an hour to, hang with me, have an adult beverage or two. So we set up this meeting spot on one of the main roads in Clearwater Beach. I was getting there at about the appropriate time. However, in my rental car, it had one of those newfangled charging cable inserts, not the traditional USB type. So it had the smaller one, which my charging cable did not fit into. So I couldn't charge my phone. And using the GPS to get there, it went way down to like 50%. And then while using it at the game to do the one interview I did, another one that I thought I did, and to take a bunch of pictures, I was down to 14%. And then driving around Clearwater, I pretty much ran it out of gas. So I ran.
Well, hey, stop right there. Do you want to talk about quickly the one you thought you did?
Oh gosh, there are so many angles to this story. But anyway, the phone died right as I got to the area where I had to. I parked in a parking garage, and before I went to go meet up with Bill, I changed my sneakers, and I was going to change my shirt, but I don't think I did. I kept the white Phillies polo shirt on. But while I'm changing my shoes, my phone fell off of like the area where it was on the seat onto the floor close to the door. I picked it up, thought I put it in a safe spot, and then I left the phone, I thought, in the car and walked about 100 yards, realized I didn't have my phone, went back to the car, looked all over the car, under the car, all along where I walked, could not find the phone. I looked for 15 minutes. So I was in a panic because, I have everything on my phone like most people. So I just kind of gave up, walked to meet you, Bill. I told you to come back and help me using your phone. Couldn't call my phone because it was dead, but just to use your flashlight and your eyes to help me try to find it. So we go into my car. Bill's got the flashlight. We're looking again under the seats, in between, the seat and the console area, under the mat in the front. I looked on top of the dash, didn't see it there. So I was like, just again, in panic mode, ready to give up and just go have a beer or two and drown my sorrows and figure out whatever. Lo and behold, I just stick my hand on top of the dash, and right behind the steering wheel, the dash in this car, a nice BMW that they upgraded me to, by the way, it sloped down behind the steering wheel, the front part of the dash where it meets the steering wheel. And right there was indeed my phone, which is why I didn't see it, because it wasn't in the flat area where I could see it. It was right here on that angled part, and I just happened to touch it. I said, "Oh, look!" So all was well. Other than
I'm just going to say this, Chet. I've driven a lot of miles in my day.
Yeah,
and I've met a lot of people who have driven a lot of miles.
Yeah,
never have I seen somebody in a full out total sweat lost your mind. You had lost your mind.
And before we got to the car to find it, I took Bill to the wrong parking garage, the one right before the one where it actually was. I said, now I can't even find my car. So it was a disastrous half hour or so.
it was actually kind of funny to be on the outside. It wasn't too funny for you because you were in a full panic mode.
The rest of the weekend went great though. So there was
well, the rest went good once you got
good.
those keys back. So you just had a little setback, let's call it.
And I even drank Miller Lite with you, Bill. So
well, you know what? It was the
Doesn't
beer of the
happen
month. It was the beer of the month. $3 $3 for a liter. You couldn't do it. All right. Anything else before we wrap this thing up?
Where will you be going Sunday for an Oscars party? Do you go hang out with friends for a big Academy Awards night?
Oh, yeah. All of my friends will be there for that, for sure.
Wrap it up, Bill.
Oh, my goodness. You have to stop. Let's thank tonight's special guests, Kevin Reavy and Chris Wheeler. Our sponsors, the Irish Rover Station House, Cavs Philly Tailgates, PPCC 118 Raz Room. For Jim Chet Chesko, this is Bill Furman. We hope you enjoyed the show. We'll join Philly Press Box Radio next Wednesday, March 18th at 7 p.m. You see us live on Facebook, on our Philly Press Box Radio YouTube channel, and on the STT Sports Network YouTube channel, and listen on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and all the others. High hopes, Philadelphia sports fans.
And cheers. Oops. Let's wrap it up.
Happy trails till we meet.